What's up, y'all? Sorry I haven't had any videos out lately. It's just been really busy in the shop and I've had a lot of end of the year stuff going on. But today we do have one I want to put out while I've got it here. This Russwin, I keep wanting to say Corbin Russwin. This is actually a Russwin mortise lock, and it was brought in because it was handed wrong. So let's take a look at this fella and see about switching the hand on it. Hey y'all, this was brought in by a customer who said that their lock is on the right hand side of the door and swings in. So when they said they needed it handed, I was automatically like, well, if it's on the right hand side of the door, your hinges are over here and it swings in, the bevel is actually correct. Never heard back from the customer after we told them that, and then I thought, well, maybe they mean that the locking tabs or the locking buttons that are on almost all mortise locks, maybe they're reversed. And I might note right here, these are very rare. Only a couple of, I know Sargent made a split one like this, and when I say split, it is the upper and lower buttons are usually together, like on Baldwin's, some of the more common or newer mortise locks, they're always going to be together side by side. On some of these old fellas, like this guy, they were split, and like I said, Sargent made one, and obviously Russwin made one, and it's split over and below the latch. Now, I also might point out that this is a short throw latch. It's only about a little bit over a ½ inch, I think 5/8 of an inch out. What you want nowadays is 1 inch. However, this isn't something you can easily just replace because like the size of the faceplate's different, the hole patterns are different. So you try to preserve these as much as possible. We can see this is a single cylinder, and when it's, we need to flip it back in here. We're gonna take a look at the inside when we take it off, but here would be the outside, again, on the right-hand side of the door. And we're gonna take our test knob and check it. So unlocked, unlocked, and then you push the button in, which normally locks the outside knob, but we see it's not doing that. So we go to the inside and we turn it and it's unlocked. We push the button in and there we go, it's locked. So that would mean when you were trying to exit the door, you couldn't turn to get out. You'd have to use your thumb turner. And also this would be on the wrong side for the inside. So we're gonna have to take this disc out. But if it was on the inside, I'm gonna go ahead and show it now, so I don't forget about it. But they would be able to get out. They would have to turn the thumb turn, which, you know, obviously does the deadbolt part. And if you keep turning it, it depresses a little mechanism in there that would pull the latch back. Now, obviously, it'd be really awkward to have to do that every time you wanted to get out. So they wanted to get it switched around correctly. So we need to switch this over to the other side, because that'll be on the inside, and flip this locking function around. So let us unscrew it and take a look at it here now. Go ahead and unscrew these screws, just 2 of them. Now, I have done Baldwin videos where, let me get this centered. It's always a good idea to leave it, to have it level when you're working on it. I have said before in other videos, and it's always a good idea whenever you're taking your screws out on mortise locks here to just hold it down. Hold it down. Most of the old ones are not going to be spring loaded, as in when you pull this cap, parts and everything will go flying. Like on Baldwin, we have a screw down mechanism to hold the hub and the thumb turn. Most antique stuff is not that bad, and it usually won't explode on you like that. However, again, before you take this face off, take the screw that holds the cylinder in and either screw it all the way out or all the way down like that, because when you take this face off, if you leave that extended through the face plate, that's this part, it's just hard. You have to angle the plate out. So if you screw that all the way out or all the way in, it will make a considerable difference when we're taking it off. Now, even though I know this one's probably not really spring-loaded, I always kind of hold the hub down. You can do that. It's kind of hard to do, obviously. And we want to pop our faceplate off. So there we go. I'm just going to kind of ease it off like this and hold it down in this area. And set it aside and just kind of gently let it go. Now, these are the two main areas you got to worry about when you're working on these. And we'll take a look at the locking function. But right now, once you got it off and you're assured everything's okay, you want to take some pictures of it. And once you get your pictures of it, you can begin to see what you need to do to switch it. Now, if we were going to have to switch the latch around, typically when you have to reverse a bevel, like or reverse the handing or whatever like that, you do have to flip the latch around. In this case, it's good to have, you know, a small screwdriver, maybe a pair of tweezers or something. And again, we're going to carefully kind of start disassembling it. We don't have to do this part for what I'm having to do. So on this one, I'm just showing you, but if we take that off, this is what was pulling the latch back. When you turn the thumb turn or you turn the cylinder with the key after it's locked, if this is locked, you have to have a way for the lock to open from the outside with the key. So what that cam does is it presses this down, which in turn toggles this down, which in turn pulls the latch back. However, again, we don't have to do this. I'm just showing you what you would have to do to flip the latch around if you needed to. Basically I'm compressing this spring right here. I'll let it go, pull the latch out, and I'm going to flip it around and face it the other way. So again, if they're even on the latch, it's marked. We don't have to do that, so we're going to leave this alone. To put it back on, we're going to slide this washer, slide it in, kind of hold the washer back and drop it down. No big deal on this one to switch that around. However, again, what we are doing is switching these buttons around. If you remember, I'm going to go ahead and put this back. Push the latch in just a bit and make sure that seats correctly. All right, so if we look at the buttons here, which is what we're doing, whenever you have the cap open like this, you have to be super careful whenever you're messing with the function, because it can blow up. If it didn't blow up before, it'll blow up when you start messing around with the buttons or the latch. So watch this. This is what's locking that outside hub in. See how it goes in this notch? And when we push the button here, it comes out just like that. Now, once it's out, we've got some spring pressure being pulled on right here. So I'm going to hold that down. And we can see basically this is just, I guess a split hub is what you could call that. It's two different pieces. So in this case, all we have to do is put this on the outside. So to do that, we'd flip it around, take it out first. Get our other piece, is just going to come up to the inside and remove it. And we're going to flip it upside down. Obviously, this thicker part is what goes through the shielding. So let's just drop that down in there like that. And then we're going to flip this upside down. Ooh, now there we go. So now the inside is going to be free because it's not being locked. When you push the button in here, we can see it goes into the outside hub. So that is all there is to rehanding that. Fairly simple for this one. You just do have to be careful with this spring. We've got this all back together, and we're going to have to flip this around, which we can do from the outside. That is not a big deal. So to do this, see, I kind of dropped the plate down on top like that, and I'm still holding it. And you can do several things here. You can use really anything. This is probably the hardest thing to have to use for it. Another way I do it is, if I don't want to try to fight that down, is I just kind of hold the cap down, slide it over. Once I see it, then I'll hold it back, put your faceplate on, and just move the hub. And that sounds like it's snapped in pretty well, but you want to check around the outside to make sure that it's all flush. So I think that was like that before. Got your screws. It's a good idea to Loctite these screws. Use purple or blue Loctite. Never use red for this. We're gonna loosely put that on. Loosely put this on. We're gonna tighten it down, not all the way, but most of the way. We're gonna check that, make sure it's still good. Go ahead and back our screw out here, and we'll go ahead and switch this thing around by backing this screw out. Now, sometimes these do have to come apart. I probably should have done that while I had it. Yeah, this one is. Okay, so that was my mistake. Hold on. Okay, I completely forgot, but yeah, some of these do require that you take it apart to get this and flip it to the other side. I think this one has it. And we're gonna gently coax it out. Oh yeah, it's held in with tape on the other side. Now that's your thumb turn. It goes on the inside now. So we're gonna back the screw out. This will make it a little bit difficult. And we see there's a hole on each side that this pointy screw goes into. That way you know it's perfectly level. So there we go, we're gonna tighten that down. So now this is gonna make it kind of awkward putting this cap back on, because now we have the screw poking out. So I guess I can show you that part of it. Again, this would be a lot harder if it had spring-loaded, many more spring-loaded features than it does, but just kind of angle it in. Again, get our hub down and tighten our screws down. So that is it. We should be good, but as always, once we get these faceplate screws in, you want to check all functions of it. That means getting a cylinder. They didn't bring the cylinder with them. Oops, sorry about that. So I'm just going to use a test cylinder like I have my test thumb turn, and just a random test knob. So tighten that down. Let's use a different screwdriver for that. These don't need to be overly torqued by any means. Okay, so now we've got the cylinder going on the outside. That's correct. We've got the thumb turn on the inside. Let's scoot back just a bit. Inside the door, right-hand side, latch works. Thumb turn, pulls that back from the inside, throws the bolt out. That does correctly. I'm gonna just stick our finger in here to mimic a cylinder. It goes out all the way, back all the way, and that pulls in. Remember, we removed that plate, so you definitely want to check that function. Okay, on to the hub part where the lock is. Now you notice this is bigger on one side than it is on the other. These spindles there were certain spindles, this is what that's called, had a bigger side and a smaller side. So if you were replacing the knobs on there, you do need to make sure that your your spindle matches the diameter. Because if you're using a small one right there instead of the big one, number one, the bigger one won't go into that side. And the smaller one, if you try to use it, what's going to happen is you're going to damage the hub. So you definitely need to make sure you're using the correct spindle, which I am not here. This is just a test to let me know that we've got the outside in the locked position. So unlocked and locked. On the inside, we have unlocked and unlocked. So we're good to go on this one. That is all there is to it. Again, the things that I did not do, check these screws up here, which is what's holding the faceplate on. You very rarely have to take the faceplates off of these, so don't go there. But anyway, that is it on switching the hand, or switching the, I guess, locking tab function on an old antique Russwin mortise lock. And thanks for watching, y'all. If you have any questions or comments, as always, post them in the comments section. Catch y'all next video.